in the city. Now, I've said throughout this campaign that I love St. Pete, but that I love its potential even more. And everywhere I go, behind every door I knock on, I meet people who feel the same way that I do. They love living here, but they know that something is missing. They know we're not reaching our full potential. In many cases, they feel like we've lost momentum. This is a great city, but we can do even better. In the mayor's office, we need new energy, new ideas, and a new vision that will save more taxpayer money and create more jobs. I have specific ideas. Throughout my career in this campaign, my approach on key issues has been to listen, to learn, and to lead. That is the approach that is needed, and an approach that led to the proposals I'm focused on today. A big part of this campaign has been about restoring leadership and vision and decisiveness to the mayor's office. But those are big words. So what does it mean? Well, it starts inside City Hall. As mayor, I will implement St. Pete STAT based on the city STAT model of statistics-driven accountability standards. Building on the city's current scorecard measures, St. Pete STAT will consist of regular meetings during which my staff and I will meet with department heads to examine and analyze past performance, future performance objectives, and overall performance strategies. Performance goals will be set, managers and workers will be held accountable, and results will be measured, not yearly, but monthly, or even on a week-to-week basis. And since citizen concerns are the basis of effective performance measures, St. Pete STAT will incorporate the current Action Online, which is similar to how other cities have incorporated a 311 non-emergency calls into their city STAT program. Local governments all across America have increased efficiency and effectiveness while saving taxpayer money because of the city STAT model. In its first 7 years, this type of management program saved the city of Baltimore $350 million. The city of Chicago saved $20 million in the first year they implemented city STAT. In the first year of operation, Stat reportedly saved Syracuse nearly $14 million. And in 1 year, Louisville's Louis STAT led to $1.46 million in savings in overtime. Now, some cities like Fort Wayne have used the savings to give bonuses to city workers for meeting performance goals. Now, St. Pete STAT won't start on day one, but it will start, and it will grow. It also won't be our only means of saving money. We must continue to seek out partnerships, both with the private sector and with other governments. As a city council member, I work closely with Mayor Baker to bring the West St. Petersburg Community Library to fruition. That was a joint use facility that satisfied the needs of both the city of St. Petersburg and St. Pete College. I helped bring eco-zones to St. Petersburg, a unique public-private partnership that funded important technologies and solutions to improve our local environment in the areas of air, water, energy, and green space. Programs were paid for via the temporary placement of outdoor signage and at no additional cost to taxpayers. And these are just two examples of how a little creativity and collaboration can move us forward. And when it comes to making sense, and especially fiscal sense, we have to look at consolidations. While in the Florida House, I authored legislation, which later became law, that merged Pinellas County's land and transportation planning organizations. And now we just can't pursue these types of partnerships and consolidations when times are tough. This is about being proactive. And it's about looking for savings, both large and small. For example, we can save additional taxpayer money simply by being more energy efficient. In the near term, that means resolving negotiations with Duke Energy to switch out 30,000 of our street light bulbs to LED in order to save approximately $1.8 million. And there are public safety implications here as well. Improved street lighting is an effective tool for preventing crime. So regardless of our negotiations with Duke, we must continue upgrading to brighter LEDs on our streets and in our alleys, and we'll save money in the process. Additionally, because of intense competition for dollars, having a full-time, experienced grant writer on staff and keeping them on staff is vital to keeping pace. This individual will be directed to aggressively pursue both government and foundation grants. After all, if you don't apply for it, you're not getting it. This is funding that we are losing to other cities, and we have to fight for our fair share. Of course, the best way for our community to thrive is by growing our local economy. One of the things I've talked a lot about on this campaign is building on the consortium known as the St. Pete Ocean Team and formalizing it as a research park. Linking some of our most important and impressive institutions, like USF Marine Sciences, the Florida Institute of Oceanography, NOAA, and SRI, just to name a few. The St. Pete Ocean Team Cluster is already a powerful economic driver, and yet it's nowhere near its full potential. I'm encouraged that many of our community leaders recognize this and that there have been discussions to incorporate our nearby hospitals in order to create a single district, research district, with public spaces and amenities. Now, to me, an important component of such a project is our ports. For too long, our ports have been underutilized and underappreciated. I envision our port as being the premier research vessel hub for the entire Gulf Coast. And we don't need to expand the port, we just need to better equip it. It needs infrastructure around it, access to electricity and water, and perhaps a few dorm rooms and labs for visiting scientists. A renewed port may also be able to accommodate a future water taxi service to Tampa and Sarasota. Now, one final thought on the research district. As SRI and others have proven, the clean and renewable energy industry is a natural fit for this type of district. The Dome Industrial District and parts of West St. Pete are also ideal for light manufacturing that's associated with many clean tech jobs. In fact, the solar power related jobs are outpacing the rest of the U.S. economy, and solar energy consumption, as it's rapidly increasing, it's time that St. Petersburg made a decision. Are we going to be out front, or are we going to be left behind? And to me, this is easy. We are the Sunshine City. As mayor, I will work to make us a magnet for clean energy jobs, with a member of my administration dedicated to bringing these jobs here to St. Petersburg. I will also work to improve our public schools, because doing so will have a direct and positive impact on our economy. Corporations looking to relocate and relocate their employees are going to take a city's schools into consideration. And quality schools means a quality workforce for corporations and small businesses to hire from. One of the ways that City Hall can influence public education is by working with Pinellas County schools to incorporate community service activities into the classroom curriculum. There is plenty of data that indicates that service activities increase attendance rates, decrease suspensions, improve GPAs, and enhance social consciousness. St. Pete needs to be a place where children learn, not just live. But we need to make sure it's a great place to live, too. And there's been a lack of focus on the very thing that defines St. Petersburg, and that's our neighborhoods. And that focus will return when I'm mayor. I will restore funding and restore the high-ranking position overseeing neighborhood services. Strong, vibrant neighborhoods are vital to our everyday quality of life, as is public safety. And nothing I do as mayor will be more important than keeping our residents, our businesses, and our visitors safe. That's why I will put an end to a chase policy that's resulted in one of our officers traveling at 110 miles per hour in a 40 mile per hour neighborhood and then crashing. And while I would like us to return to a community policing model, I am open-minded to whatever approach ensures responsiveness to our residents and also strengthens the officer-resident relationship. But moving back toward community policing does not mean abandoning the use of innovative technologies like predictive policing. So I look forward to selecting and working with our next chief and to put a plan in place that makes St. Petersburg safer. And in return, City Hall will support this new chief by doing all that we can. In addition to some of the things that I've touched on a little earlier, like education, we need to strengthen our codes department and to expedite demolition of condemned homes, because we know that blight invites crime. And because we are a coastal city, we need to be better prepared for severe weather and rising sea levels. And my administration will begin long-term planning for climate change. And this is where the public works intersects with public safety. So in summation, we need to save money. We need to stimulate the economy in order to generate revenue. We need to focus on the things that make us special and protect what is sacred. And we need to be and to feel safe. All while being mindful that this is a pretty big city, even if it sometimes doesn't feel like it is. Beach Drive and downtown are critical to our prosperity, but there are businesses in West St. Pete that are waiting for the West Central Avenue redevelopment plan to move forward. And businesses and neighborhood leaders that are anxious for the 34th Street South improvement plan to become a reality. Residents in Midtown who are ready for a 2020 plan that will bring much needed investment to their community with the goal of reducing poverty by 30% and hopefully lowering the painfully high unemployment rate. Simply put, we need to be more mindful. We need to be empathetic. We need to understand that the policies and decisions that come out of City Hall have a profound impact on all of our residents. We need to be better, and we need to do better. We need to fulfill our potential. Thank you all so much for coming, and I'd be happy to take your questions.
Can you be more specific on one city stat and how you apply it to sewer department, police department, just an example of how you envision it saving money?
Well, let me compare, for example, what we've got currently to how city stat functions. I mean, what we've got right now is what's being called the scorecard, which is really more of a report card on how we're doing. And with the scorecard, the city sets its goals, and on a yearly basis, they review to see whether those goals have been met. But what that doesn't do is it doesn't allow or provide for a timely response to the issues that have been identified. That's how St. Pete Stat will differ, because St. Pete Stat is going to be reviewing how we're performing on at least a monthly basis. So if we find areas where we're not being effective or efficient, we can make changes and corrections to those areas immediately. And that's how you see your savings. Some of these cities, they've seen the savings because they've looked at overtime issues. And they've been able to address overtime because they've been able to look at those issues on a weekly or monthly basis as opposed to yearly, and make changes to address them right then and there, and that's how they're saving money. Same thing goes in each and every department within the city. When you're looking at things on a more frequent basis, you're adjusting and reacting to those and adapting to the need that's arising. It allows for a savings because you become more efficient.
Can you be more specific on how you implement that? Like, I mean, you say it's going to save all this money, but what's the cost to switch from one to the other? The logistical stuff.
And thank you. Really the only cost is in staffing. It's a software, and there are a lot of different softwares out that can be used. When the program originally started in Baltimore, they were using just a regular Microsoft program. And so you can use existing technology. You can go out and purchase, if that's the way you want to go, the program that's specifically adapted for city stat, although each city is doing it differently. It's really the staffing, and we can use existing staffing, and we've already got a mayor's action line. And that's really where the calls come in through. Whether they're coming online through the action online or through the mayor's action line, that's the initial source of the data that you're initially collecting. It's from the citizens, and that allows you to be more accountable to the citizens and how you're responding to their needs and their desires.
So St. Pete Stat works by citizens calling in to the mayor's office And I mean, is there some sort of, like, are they looking at a rubric of some sort, and then they call in and they say, this is what we've got in our neighborhood?
No, well, it's partially driven by the community. For example, if you're a resident in St. Petersburg and your sanitation, your garbage wasn't picked up on a particular day, and you call up the city and say, hey, my trash wasn't picked up today, that's now logged into the system. So when we're taking a look on a monthly basis, for example, at needs and and issues, that call-in is going to show up on our data, and you're going to see it visually, because it's a very visual system, so that people are very visual, and when we're communicating with the public, it's a lot easier when it's visual. So that data gets recorded. So any calls for service, for example, that come in from the community, you're going to get those logged, and it's going to be part of the data. The other way that you track it is internally, where we set goals as a community of performance, how we want to do. For example, in the permitting department, we'll be able to track when an application came in and how long was the turnaround for that application to be processed and either approved or rejected. And those figures will show up on a monthly basis. So it's both internal and external.
So it seems that it's then a modern twist on what's already been going on in every city in America. People call in, they have an issue, but now you all are going to take those issues and put them in this program. We are going
to do a better job of tracking and a better job of responding. I mean, and that's really the key is, again, when you're only looking at things on a yearly basis, and if you go to the city's scorecard, first off, it's only yearly, and second, it really isn't even up to date. You cannot respond, you cannot adjust and adapt when you're looking yearly. It has to be more frequent than that. And quite frankly, if we're going to provide services to our community, and that's really our number one goal, is to provide services to the city, to the citizens, we've got to be able to respond in a quicker fashion.
Any idea how much you think it would save?
You look at what some of the other communities have saved in implementing this, and we're talking potentially millions of dollars. If we save $50,000, if we save $100,000, it's still $50,000 or $100,000 more than we were saving previously. But more importantly, aside from the savings, we're providing better services, greater accountability and transparency to our citizens, and that's what government should be about.
Rick, those examples that they would seem to indicate citizens might get better service, but how will it save the city?
Again, it's through efficiencies. That's really where you see the primary savings come into play. If you are able to respond quicker and potentially realign the department so that you can respond quicker, you see savings. A number of these cities have seen savings through looking at staffing levels and overtime, and they've been able to adapt and respond, and that's how they've ended up saving money, because they're not paying the same amount of overtime, and they learned about the need through the program.